treatment that she had. She's trying okay, you hear me? You're sick. Let some of them people. This is the funniest thing I've ever done. She's on wellness and at our church. She's the sickest person to be on wellness. I mean, and I can't do nothing with her. And so I don't say nothing. Yes. Well, oh yeah. Well, you know, Julia's like, you either have to move and he is a good man. That's true. But I don't want to let her go because it makes her sick for 5 days. Pick her up. And she has migraine. Their infusions are fun too. And
maybe they're giving her too much.
Tommy was last Friday. And I told her, I said, I'm not a doctor. All the doctors can say doctors. This is her infection. She's got to go to 8 doctors. That's another problem. You got too many doctors. Then she got me on the phone. And all doctors no. See now, we have to get that. All these doctors. And she told me, she said, when I go to the doctor next week, she's going to get on me about my weight. I said, well, you know what that little skinny doctor can do? She has not lost her regimes, and Heather's been through I said, I don't care what the doctor says. Just give me a clearance. That's all we're going to do. You can't do nothing without all her doctors giving the clearance.
Does she need them all?
I don't think she goes to the doctor, urologist, she goes to intern, she goes to, her surgeon. She's got 2 surgeons. She's got the arthritis and lupus. She's got like today, Tommy said, we've been medicine. We're trying to get his medicine regulated. So he's been, I could have lived with him. I mean, it wouldn't bad. He's been at home reading on all his medications and your kidney and your liver. I said, okay, let me just tell you, I don't care what you put in your milk, it damages your kidney. It's got to come something anyway. It's got to come out. And he said, well, that medicine you started giving me it's not hurting. Dairy takes it every day. But you do what you do right. Anyway, she's had this she's had it all. Lost her husband, she lost her she lost her and moved in with her. I never placed her. I understand. used to say, until she, my wife, mothers and daughters, and they now I could get along with my sons, but Sherry gets them both. You don't have to watch my see, I'm like that. Daddy would lay down and say, Walk. Not my sister, my mama was there. No, you just want to cross the road. They'll never when we oh, they're all out in the parking lot chatting.
Oh, did he?
I don't know. To me, it is.
Yeah, this was.
And he has.
I did not get a chance to open it. I'll do that. I'll let you know.
Hunting rabbits.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our June 21st council meeting. Thank you very much for taking the time to come out tonight. If you would at this time, please locate your cellular devices and put them in silent mode, if you don't mind.
Already did.
And first item up we have tonight under presentations is employee recognition. William?
Should turn that on. We have some employee recognitions tonight, mainly from the police department. So I'm going to turn it over to Chief Gladisek, and he can recognize some great work that's continuing to happen over there.
Chief?
Thank you. I think I'm working. Is this working?
Yep, you're on.
All right, as you all know, we do have some ribbons that we like to present our officers with for outstanding performance. One of the ribbons that we present is a ribbon for the apprehension of a burglary in progress. On May the 18th at about noon, we got a call of some individuals that were breaking into a home around Forest Hill Drive, and officers responded quickly. We had several officers that assisted in this, but Officer Roberts in particular was able to locate the individuals and apprehend them. He got a lookout and was able to respond again quickly and pick up on them. These individuals were actually breaking into a garage. Interestingly, they stole meats and some charcoal and things like that. I mean, it's amazing the things that people will steal. But nevertheless, I mean, obviously it put these poor people out. So we were very proud that we were able to get their property. And so with that, Officer Roberts, I'd like to ask you to join me up here in the front and present you with our Blue Star ribbon for an apprehension of burglary. Okay, thank you.
Slow down a little bit, Chief.
And the next person that I would like to recognize today, in fact, you will notice, now the books that I put on here are the original. In 2011, we started Safetyville for the children, teaching them awareness of safety, and we coordinate that with the fire department and teach kids tips on how to be safe citizens. We do have a couple individuals in particular that coordinate this and work very hard to make it happen. A lot of individuals are involved in this, and without everybody, it wouldn't happen. But tonight I would like to recognize Lieutenant Mark Bradbury for his coordination and effort of that. He had a couple of pictures that we'll just have scrolling there in the background. But with that, Mark, I sincerely like to thank you for your work, your hard work in this area. Thank you very much. upcoming Citizen Police Academy. We do have some flyers out here for anybody that's interested in participating this year.
The Citizens Police Academy, we've done it for a while. We have the H cops. A lot of you guys know who they are. Some of the folks in here have been through the course. Matter of fact, somebody just walked in that's been through the course. But July the 14th, it'll start again for 2016. So we have the calendar over here of what we'll be doing. We probably won't have as much fun as Safetyville and go through the little water things and drive the cars. Well, we could if we wanted to. But also we have an application, so if you know anybody that might want to learn a little bit about what we do, and mostly just spend a little time with us, because it's just about getting to know you guys and for y'all to know us and what we do. Grab one of these and just let us know, contact me or Chief Glavasek, and we'll be happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the hard work of our dedicated employees, all of them, but especially not, we recognize our police officers.
Can I ask a question? That starts on the 4th. Me, up here. Does that start on the 14th and it's every Thursday?
Yes, ma'am, every Thursday night. I got a little calendar over here, or it's not a calendar, but it just tells you every Thursday night is from 7 to 9, and it goes, let me give you the last date. It'll start on the 14th of July, and every Thursday until September. It's a Thursday in September, it's the 15th, and that's when you graduate. And if you want to stay around, you can become an H-cop, do a little driving test, and be like the citizens on patrol, and kind of do that stuff. So just interact with the community and give Hapeville a good name.
My children tell me I'm not driving too well, so. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next item up in your packet tonight was a printout of the year-to-date as of March 31st. Of course, Jim Schuster is on the mend, so we're looking forward to having him back soon. Council, y'all have any questions on that report? And if William's unable to answer them, he can certainly get you the answers. There's no questions. We will move on into our public hearing. I will call to order a public hearing. This is consideration and action on ordinance 2016-17. This is the fiscal year 2016-2017 budget. The budget has been presented to the City Council on multiple workshops and a couple of occasions. We had a public hearing last Tuesday, and we had the first reading on the 14th during that public hearing. So this will be our second final reading for the budget, and we'll take citizen comments, public comments in just a moment. We'll start with staff comments. William, you have any comments you'd like to make?
None other than what I've already made for the record. We've been working on this for quite some time, and feel like we provided the information requested, and we're ready to move forward. There are a number of big policy questions with the budget, some of which would be, of course, the raise for the staff. There's the stormwater utility, and then there's the some of the IT efficiencies we're going to pick up. So there's kind of some of the highlights that we've talked about it quite a bit. So just try to respond to questions should there be any.
Thanks, sir. All right, public comments. I'll start on my right. Anyone have a comment or a question regarding the budget? On my left. Any comments or questions regarding the budget? Ms. Williams?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. One thing that I'd like to bring to your attention, at the last public hearing we had, the citizens were not given a copy of the amended budget. The council was, and it's been 4 years since I've been responsible for a public hearing, but 4 years ago, everybody had to have a copy of whatever the hearing was on. I'm not going to push that issue tonight, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. We did not have the information. We were operating off of information that, according to the city manager, gave to each one of you as he came in, and we never got a copy. It was never posted. We didn't have a slide on it. And I think that is really difficult for citizens to be asked to vote on something that we don't have the information on. Again, we're recommending from the Hapeville Community Coalition that the Mayor and Council approve the 2017 budget with the caveats that we asked for the last time we were here. Those caveats being, we're asking for an immediate hiring freeze based on the existing finances. This is not forever. This is just until we understand where the budget really is. We have no confidence in the budget as presented. Secondly, a moratorium on all zoning ordinances, development projects, except for those that are identified by the economic development staff as having been in progress. This will stop all moving parts to allow the staff a chance to catch its breath, to develop a process and procedure to move forward. And there are many issues that have come up about the ordinances that will be spoken to later. Third thing is no raises until the state of finances is certain. We believe that raises are certainly entitled, and our folks are entitled to those, but not until we have had an opportunity to know where we stand. And we don't believe that the salary survey was complete. It did not compare cities to cities in terms of the size of our city. Yes, those cities were in the metropolitan statistical area. However, they were much larger than we were, and it didn't take into consideration the square footage, or the square miles that we have here per number of citizens. Last but not least, a review of all outside contracts in view of reducing our immediate and long-term overhead. Again, I ask you to please consider this as y'all are passing the budget, and be prepared after the budget is passed in the beginning of the new fiscal year to revisit those items. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Any other comments on my left? Okay. There being none, council? Comments or questions on the budget?
I would agree with Ms. Williams as far as passing with the various caveats that she has mentioned. The hiring freeze, the moratorium on new planning and zoning issues, existing ones can carry on to their logical end. No raises until, I guess, the review. And I'm thinking this is maybe 90 days, maybe 120 days, during the time which we have a chance to do the reviewing on the budget. I haven't had time to go through each line item. There are some things that I know I want to line out if they're still in there. I might not have brought the big detail thing yet, but and reviewing of all the outside contracts. So I do agree with that.
Any other council comments?
Well, I believe we look over the budget every month and see how we're adjusting to it, or at least every quarter so we get our figures. And I'm hoping that when we let contracts, we make sure that they are viable contracts and important to the city. And as for the hiring freeze, the police department is in the process of replacing people who have left. I don't see any problem with that. And I'm sorry, at the low end of our scale, we have some money in the bank and we know about what we're going to collect, and the low end of our scale needs their raises. They've waited a long time, and our situation is getting a little better, and it's our time to reward those that have stuck by us.
Any other?
Can anybody turn off the slides? It's driving me nuts flashing. I told you I'm a visual person, and I feel like something's going on back there. Ms. Williams, I'm listening to what you say, but there's no time limits on it, so it's a little bit odd for me to say, yeah, I agree to something. And is it 1 month? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? So I'm not really sure what you're after. I know that the budget is kind of a living document. We're going to have to revisit it. We're going to have to shape it, and some of that will take care of itself. But I think that you listing it is good in the sense that we keep those things in mind, but I don't know how to incorporate that into what we pass, really. But I am listening to what you say, and I don't want you to think I'm not.
Would you like for me to respond to that?
If that's okay, sure.
Yeah.
I like dialogue.
I think each one of those each one of those areas that we have talked about are a little different. First of all, I'm going to jump into the moratorium. I think if the city had between, I'm going to say 3 to 6 months to actually put our processes in place so that we're prepared for when real development comes, and not to say that what we have now is not real development, but we do not have that one-stop shop that you folks have been asking for, and we as citizens have been asking for over a year. That's still not in place. If you want to get a permit, you've got to run all of the city, and we still don't have that process and those tasks in place. So to be prepared for that, that moratorium is to set it aside, a time and space between 3 and 6 months until we can actually accomplish that. That's,
Can I respond to that, and then maybe you'll have more to say, and then I'll let you keep going. On the one-stop shop, I don't always get to every meeting because I'm running a business myself, but I have been to a couple where the people, whether it be the tavern or at the hotel that just remodeled and had their ribbon cutting, they were thrilled with what they literally used the words that you're using, how they liked that they could come and meet with the fire chief, the police chief, the planner, and they seem to be very pleased with what we have to offer. Can we improve? Well, God knows we could always improve, but I don't think it's non-existent, so I'm not quite clear what you mean.
okay. Having been a developer and a builder for 23 years, normally when you walk into a city or you look on the website, what you see are those steps 1 through 10, 1 through 20, 1 through 100, telling you exactly what you need, the forms that are needed, the time period that you need. And if you try to go to our website and find that, it's very difficult. I have trouble with it.
Okay.
If I walked into the city today as a developer, I would wonder, do they really have it all together? And even putting a booklet together, but that's not it. We need in place a department, if you will, or a division, if you will, where we would have someone there to, if I walked in the door, you could take my plans, you could look at the plans, read those plans, look at the map and see that yes, you are in the right zoning, you're fine with that, and that the parcel that I'm bringing before you, I do own, there are no issues with it, and so forth. So that walking in the door, I'm talking to one person, hopefully that will move right on. And those meetings that I have to go to, we talk about zoning. We should have a zoning map right there. That should be accurate. There should be no question about it.
Okay.
So that's my philosophy about it, and that's where I come from.
Okay, thank you.
You know, Mickey, I have to agree with you on the sort of the one-stop shop thing. And I know that William had a college student, master's student. What was she, William? From Georgia State or something?
Well, we have Adrian Center that we just hired back, who's going to be the one-stop shop.
Yeah. So I think that person interviewed all of the businesses, or tried to interview as many of the businesses as she could, to get a feel of where we stand and when opening up a business. You know, because I agree. I want the small business and the business owner for it to move so fast that they're almost scared. You know, that we have everything in place. I think that's what that student or the person from Georgia State was doing. You know, I think she had a presentation that we had to cancel that meeting that she was going to present at. But I think that's happening. You know, where we're getting to the point where there is going to be a one-stop shop here, because I think that's what council wants. And this is just one part of it. So I don't know if we should throw the baby out with the bathwater and stop all of it, but I do think that we do need to look at it, and we need to keep looking at it. You know, because we're never going to be perfect. You know, personally and as a city.
Yeah.
We also have put the city manager to task to make it in the 1, 2, 3, 4 process, because I believe that's important too. It's just visually, it's nice to see where you're going. We have, anyway, I feel like we're meeting the needs of the ones that I'm aware of, and maybe you're knowing something I don't know.
Well, and to follow that through, when we have developers walk in the door, how many more widget shops do we need making blue widgets? How many more pizza parlors do we need? How many more single-family houses in certain price range do we need? We don't have a master plan. The one that we have goes back to 2005. And the updates on that have been capital improvement projects. Nothing to do with what do we want this city to look like, what's our shared vision. And so when we talk about plans, When we walk into this building and this meeting, and constantly we have ordinances that are coming up every single meeting, by the time you read what you're supposed to know and where you're supposed to go, it's changed again. And evidently, we're not thinking those things through carefully. Let's stop, see where we are, look at that master plan, and begin to move forward. We've got a comprehensive plan and an LCI plan that will be due this next year that we should be working on right now. Let's give ourselves a chance to breathe with that. Now, should somebody come along, or our economic development people, should they stop looking? No, they shouldn't. But give us a chance to get those processes in place. And as far as the hiring freeze, as soon as we're satisfied that the money is there, that we're not going to have to lose any sources of money that we have, I say move forward. And I couldn't agree more with that. But we continue to hire, and I thought that there was a hiring freeze on, but every time I turn around, we've hired 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more people in City Hall, and I can't figure out what we're doing with them.
I didn't know we had a hiring freeze. I
Oh,
heard a
excuse me.
request.
At the retreat, I understood the mayor said he was surprised that we were hiring because we had a hiring freeze. So I didn't understand. Maybe I misunderstood you.
Oh, maybe you did. I don't recall saying that.
Okay. But we are continuing to hire. We've got more employees right now than just about any city our size. And I'm shocked. So when are we going to take a breath and stop spending and look at where we are? That's my big question on all of this.
Well, I'm sorry. I think for me, for the raises for our employees, we are competing against the bigger cities. Michael Raymond is a small business owner that owns a deli shop, and he is competing against McDonald's. His prices aren't going to be as cheap as McDonald's, but they're still competing for the same person, for that same person that wants to go out for lunch. And I think we are competing against the big cities. So we might not be able to pay as much, but if we can at least do something for them to keep them here and also to improve morale, I think that's really important.
Well, most 2.5 square mile cities that we would compare ourselves to don't have Zone 3, which is Atlanta's second worst crime zone at the front door. They don't have the world's busiest airport at their back door. They're not flanked by interstates. So our public safety portion is comparable with other, percentage-wise of our budget, is comparable with other cities in our area facing the same challenges we face. Most cities our size would not have 2 fire stations, but we have a railroad track running through the middle of town. So there are some unique circumstances that Hapeville faces that other cities our size don't. Most cities our size are rural cities. There's not many metro Atlanta cities that are as small as Hapeville. So I think we have some unique challenges when it comes to identifying the issues that if we don't have a strong police presence, this place goes to the dogs in a week, I promise you. We could solve the budget problem tonight. We could eliminate our police department and let Fulton County be our police department. We could eliminate our fire department and I'm using an analogy, give me just a second. We could eliminate our fire department and let Fulton County handle that. We could just eliminate all the frills, do away with the arts, do away with all the frilly stuff, and then we're just another town. I had this same discussion when Ford closed. We have, to this day, have yet to replace the revenue we lost when we lost Ford Motor Company. We replaced a portion of it, but not all of it. Finally, we have a hotel coming on that site that's going to begin to change that trend. So the trends are changing, and I know, debt was mentioned. Our debt's not increasing, it's declining. So all of these, the sky's falling. The numbers don't show that. Things are beginning to turn around. And if our numbers are so flawed in our budget, then as is being speculated upon, then every year when we had an audit, they would be standing there waving red flags. The audit's not just a rubber stamp. We hire a professional auditing firm that puts their CPA stamp of approval on our finances. So I'm just saying, I'm as concerned about the economy as everybody is, and I want to make sure that when we pass this budget, we do the right thing. But the budget's a living, breathing document. And you mentioned loss of revenue. If we lose HAP funding, we'll be revisiting this budget in a heartbeat because we'll lose a major stream of revenue.
Yes, so actually we're not losing a great deal of revenue, Mr. Mayor. What we're doing is that we're shifting that revenue to the sources of economic development and tourism and trade, which should bring in more revenue. But I want to just say one thing. We came here 2 weeks ago and I asked the question of how much do we have in our reserves? And I was told $1 million. Now Jennifer, if she has the right information in there, she can tell everybody. That's what was said. Last week I came and said, how much do we have in reserves? We have $4 million according to Ms. Barr.
There was a question of reserves versus balances in the bank. The cash on hand is $4 million.
Okay. If we could be a little bit more clear when people are asking questions, it's difficult to have faith when we keep getting changing numbers. We get changes in the categories. But just going back to one other thing, when we talk about, yes, Hapeville is unique, but just continuing to hire, and I resent the fact, quite frankly, that you keep bringing up the police department. I've not said one word about the police department, not one. I did say in a post that I thought that the firefighters were getting shortchanged because they haven't been given a raise in almost 10 years. So let's look at them as well. But I'm not saying any of the safety people, so I'm not raising red flags about that. I do believe that we're in trouble with our hotel motel tax, and I'd like to know what the status of that is right now in terms of our reports, and also our water and sewer. That's another issue. We have money that we've got to pay out again, $6 to $8 million, according to our city managers, needed right now, and I don't know where that money's coming from. So, yes, I do have concerns, and I apologize if it seems like I'm feeling like the sky's falling, but I've had 30 years in government, from federal all the way down to city, and I do understand. I also know, having worked for cities and counties, that people aren't getting raises, and we are comparable to the larger ones in many cases.
So the freeze is not on safety, it's on everybody else, or what's it on?
I don't think, okay, that's kind of a question that's difficult to answer in a short period of time. If we need public safety people, yes, we don't want to be at risk here, we certainly don't.
Yeah, I understand.
But there also comes a time, there's something called an inverted curve. We can keep hiring because we've got problems. We come to a point where we reach maximum efficiency and it levels off and it comes down. So no matter how many people we hire, unless we're doing things differently, may not make a difference. Let's look at what we're doing, not just throwing more people at the problem, but look at the whole situation. That's all I'm suggesting.
I understand. Brendan, I hope you don't mind. We had a conversation one day, and I don't think it was private, but we were talking about the needs, and you were comparing us to Forest Park, and we were talking about Jennifer's position and how difficult it was for her to answer questions. And you agreed with me that it was almost in the area of abuse what we expect of her. And yet if we get help for her, it seems, I mean, is that not what you said? I mean, and I respect what you have to say because you had done some comparisons. And yet I feel like if we hire help for her, people think, oh, they don't need that. They're just wasting what they have. So I know that isn't the purpose of this meeting, but I have trouble with just throwing the word freeze out and not being able to define it for what our needs are.
And I'd like to address part of it also. I was also at the La Quinta grand opening, and I was told that we were the best city they had ever dealt with in remodeling and doing it, that we gave them, that we gave them all the help they needed and were very friendly and helpful to them. So I don't really see that much trouble in our response in that direction. Also, I'm a money person. I looked at our cash flow. I looked at the cash in the bank and how much City of Hapeville spends every... Ma'am, I didn't shake my head when you were talking. May I finish? May I finish?
One thing I'm going to ask for.
Yes.
The floor yielded you, Mickey.
Yes.
They yielded you with respect.
Yes.
Okay, so I ask everybody, please respect the person that has the microphone or has the floor. We're not fighting World War III here. We're trying to get through a budget here. Okay, so let's do so with love and diplomacy.
And what I will say, I've ignored what you said. I went through the budget. I looked at how much cash we have. I know how much cash it takes each month above what our normal collections are to run our city. We have enough cash, more than enough cash, to do it until we start collecting our taxes in October. Also, and the city attorney has found new money that we did not have before. That is not even in the budget. It has not even been budgeted to collect down the road because we haven't gotten the first checks yet, which means that will be money that will be added to the budget. So I even feel more confident in that we will have the money to do what we need to do and do the raises that we need to do. I'm not ignoring what you're saying. I'm looking at the facts. And we have money that should be coming in hopefully very soon that will help this year's budget some. this money that they found. So we're not ignoring what you're saying. I am looking at these things. And like I say, the difference between reserves is what is the reserves in a separate account is just a bookkeeping number. And cash on hand is completely different. And had you asked him cash on hand, he might have known or might not. I don't know. Let me finish. And so that's my thing. We have looked at this stuff. I've looked at it very carefully. I spent a lot of hours reading over this budget. And there's numbers in there I don't agree with. And I don't think that anybody's going to produce a budget that everybody in the room is going to agree with. But I think it's a good budget, and it's one we can work with, and that we can take and watch and see if we've over budgeted some or under budgeted some. As time goes, we will see that, and we will make adjustments. But I don't think we're ignoring your concerns. I think they're there. I don't see a need for a moratorium on development when we just had a developer tell us that we did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other budget comments? We're still in the budget hearing, so on my left. All right. Well, yeah, we had already done the public comments. We were in the mayor council comments. So, anything else on the budget?
You know, I would like to look at contracts and contractors and see comparable, you know, if we should go in-house for the same price, like let's take a look at that and do sort of an in-house study. I don't know who would be in charge of that, but I think we can take that on and make sure that, you know, would it be better and save us money to do it in-house than to hire these contractors? So I think that is something that we do need to look at.
Absolutely, we can do that.
So, thank you.
The other thing on the contracts that came up on next door, and I do read it. I sometimes don't sleep afterwards, but I do read it. And they talked about shifting the contract period to more fit with the budget time. And I think there's good and bad in both ways, but I'd like to consider that because I think it could bring things together. There was a lot of good points made on that, and I think we should have a discussion on that.
Calendar year versus fiscal year.
Yes, and then I think things line up in a lot of ways in a very good way, and we can look at that, not tonight, but we are listening, whether it seems like it or not, we are.
Those adjustments, I mean, basically when I came in a year ago, you know, working through what was on the table and what
Sure.
arrangements are there. And, you know, there's a big pile of things to work through, and those are the kinds of nuances and adjustments we can make over time. Yes. And we've already did that with the largest contract, which was the health insurance at Hapeville.
Well, if you could make a note just for us to look into that in terms of, we do contract renewals in January, and it might make more sense to do it in July or June, something like that.
Correct. We've already handled the large, and we need to work our way down the list.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, council?
Yes, I would like to, if it's even necessary, to reserve for budget amendments, approval with reservations pending, you know, budget amendments if we see anything on further investigation. I can do
Well,
that.
yeah,
We can always do a budget.
Yeah, we have to. If the
Yeah.
budget changes, we have to amend it by law. So I think that again, it's a living, breathing document that is subject to changes in the wind. So, all right, is anyone prepared to make a motion on this item? There's no further discussion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second discussion?
We've discussed this one out.
Yeah. All right, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a budget. All right, next item is first reading of ordinance 2016-18. This is the extended stay ordinance. The Planning Commission met and considered the extended stay ordinance. Planning Commission rejected much of the language placed in the ordinance and negotiated with industry representatives to raise the overall quality of the extended stay operations and set higher standards and rules for such development. They also rejected the cap of the number of these operations located within the city. So staff and the Planning Commission are at odds. I think for me,
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If I may, I'd like to amend my recommendation.
Okay.
I'd like to recommend to table
that's what I was
until
getting to.
July 19th.
Okay. Is anyone prepared to make a motion to table ordinance 2016-18 extended stay ordinance?
I so moved.
Motion to table, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second discussion.
Why are we tabling?
We believe that there are some things that we need to go back and double check and look at, and we'll be in a better position to come forward with everything on the 19th. And it is,
Here at 6 o'clock.
On the,
July 19th at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Here.
yeah, that was a date certain, so.
yeah,
it's 6
so
o'clock.
the motion will be amended to reflect the date certain of July 19th, 6 p.m. at the courtroom facility.
And William, the things that you're going to be looking at, those would be reflected to the planning commission so that they could reconsider?
Yeah, we need to have some conversation, and again, I think people are overreacting and maybe reacting to certain things that they perceive in the market, and we're going back and talking to industry representatives, and we feel like that perhaps we can come forward with a better plan and a better approach to the whole thing. So it gives us plenty of time to work that out.
I think there was some uncertainty on, and I just walked in on the last part of the planning commission meeting, so I'm just speaking from my last moment observation, but I think there was some uncertainty as to why there was a need.
Correct.
And I think that needs to be cleared up as well. So, anyway.
Yeah, I think we can clear the whole
Well,
thing up.
in discussion, I mean, I don't know how you're approaching that, but is there the possibility of doing zero like they suggested is it that hard for somebody that wants to do something to come to a city and say, you know, I've got a really good plan, would you consider a variance? Is that an odd way to approach this?
It's a very odd way. I would like for the rules to be set. The whole purpose of an ordinance is to set the rules so the development community knows what the rules are and the expectations are, and then we can move forward. So we feel like we can clear this up.
Well, in terms of industry standards, I don't know where you're talking about building standards?
All of it.
I mean, construction standard?
The construction, the number, the amenities, I mean, all of these things. So that when you go out into the market, people understand what you're looking for, and it is my understanding that this council wants quality, this community wants quality. So how you articulate that means something. What the rules say means something. So we want to get that conversation cleared up, make sure we're on the same page with the planning commission, and come back.
So if we have an opening that we say there could be one, we have to lay all these things out. I was just thinking if we said none, then they come to us. If they're a bona fide flagship operation, they won't need much guidance on how to do it no more than Solus needs for how to do their place. I don't want to spend too much time writing out stuff, especially if it's interior design stuff, it becomes dated within 2 years.
Well, I think.
So that's why I'm trying to understand what standards we're talking about.
I think the driving factor behind this, just based upon my observation of the discussions we've had about this during the whole time it's been on the table, is that the immediate, our minds go to an extended stay that we currently have that was never designed for people to live in permanently. So that's where our minds go when we hear that. And so I think an overabundance of standards is a planner's way of just dotting every I and crossing every T to make sure you don't leave something open that's gonna surprise you down the road. So I think that's part of our fear as, for me as an elected official, and I think for us as a city, because our minds go there. You say extended stay and doesn't paint a pretty picture. And some of the industry standards there are extended stays that are designed for construction worker crews. And then there are extended stays that are designed for business travelers. From my perspective, I think we're after the business traveler type extended stay. If somebody from Porsche's coming in and they're working on a 3-month project, then that's the extended stay I want. I don't want a bunch of dump trucks and bulldozers parked in a parking lot extended stay, and I don't think that's what our citizens want. I know that's not what we want. So anyway, I just think a way for us to lasso all this up and put it back. I think there needs to be some more dialogue about this.
What, if any, hotel motel do we give up? After how many days do they?
After days.
After 30 days, then we no longer collect that.
Right. And I'm thinking, I don't know, I would have to, I'm speculating, I would have to research industry averages. But I'm betting you the average extended stay for business purposes, for like the business traveler, a Delta guy or whatever coming in for a project, probably not that long, but I could be wrong.
But, I might be wrong, but if a corporation blocks off the rooms and buys those rooms indefinitely, like, so it's Delta, they buy 10 rooms from now until the end of time, then we don't get any of that hotel motel tax, correct? Because it's the corporation that did it, so people can go in and out.
Does it change with the people after 30 days?
Or does it?
How does that work?
We need to check, because I think there were some changes made on the state level to try to flatten that loophole up. Because Delta does that at the Hilton right now, they block out
Yeah.
extra rooms. So,
And I'm sure Portia will probably do something like that too.
excuse me.
I'm really not trying to be argumentative, but I don't know if we do an extended stay, if we can say who we think the client should be if they pay the price. They can-
I understand, I think it's.
I mean, we could say we want people that are classy, but I don't care if they drive a bull.
No, and that's
I mean,
not-
I know you did that in your heart,
That's not
but
what I
that's kind
meant.
of what
That's
came
not-
off, and I want to give you a chance to.
Yeah, that didn't sound so good. I was trying to compare it to it not be, we're looking for a higher end extended stay, not a place for people to live.
Oh, definitely. I don't consider the one that we're talking about an extended stay at all. It's just a mess. The other two are extended stays.
Right. So, I did not mean to
Okay.
denigrate. I am a construction worker, so.
One question I have, I guess, for Steve or William, is it says that there should be 2 extended stays in Hapeville. So right now we have 3. Are we considering in City Suites an extended stay? Or what is the legality?
By definition,
Is it an extended stay?
Well, it would be non-conforming if it was, because it's not allowed.
It's
in the current zone.
non-conforming, there are 2 in the city.
So there's 2 extended stay hotels, or hotels, okay.
Our present code, does our present code limit how many it does? That was just a recommendation.
That was part of the recommendation.
And that's part of the dialogue we need to have, and again, it's gonna be a lot clearer on the 19th of July.
Okay.
And I think I'm sort of with Michael on the point of having 0, no more, and then having them come to us and saying, hey, I want to build it, this is my ideas, this is what I want to do, and then we can change it from there.
I think the only way to easily accomplish that would be to make it, and planners and lawyers, correct me if I'm wrong, make it a conditional use in the zones where they're allowed. That way, then they would have to come to you each time.
it seems like if we limit it to 2 and we do that, we don't have to dream up all these.
That's just another option.
Well, that just means you can't have any more if you limit it to 2.
Can't be what?
You can't have any more if you put in there, you can only have 2.
No, then we're
Be subject
saying
to the
with the
conditional
conditional
So we
use.
could do the
I'm
conditional
saying then
use.
we don't have to figure out all the possibilities. That conditional use, we'd answer a specific question.
We could put a higher
On
cap,
each one.
we could put a higher cap, but make it a.
And if I'm not making sense, boy,
Now
speak
you're
up,
making
I
sense.
need that.
It took me a minute, but I got you.
I think,
The
like that.
rules matter.
yeah,
The
yeah, we
rules
understand that.
matter, the clarity, the message you want to send to the development community on the quality you want matters. Give us an opportunity to have one more round of discussion, and if we can't come to some consensus, then you guys can, and gals can do as
Okay.
you need to do. But we feel confident that if you give us till the 19th of July, we will have a much better conversation than we're gonna have tonight.
Was the conversation we're having helping shape?
No.
Helping shape? So you're not listening to what we have to say?
Didn't say that.
Okay.
Is it just what Delta did?
And why is it helping? It's helping me, I feel better already.
I already know how I'm gonna vote next, in 2 weeks.
Okay, well, I like laughter.
Okay.
All right, we are still in discussion. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? This is the motion to table.
There's none that helps. I'll be quiet.
Oh, goodness. All right. The dialogue is healthy. All right, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion Next item is first reading of ordinance 2016-19. The attached ordinance correcting the zoning map of the planning commission failed to take action, and we have an advertised public hearing on that issue Tuesday, June 21st. Staff recommends that we wait on this issue and table to a date certain until the planning commission acts. The planning commission meets next on July the 12th, 2016. This issue was discovered by Mr. Brendan Dalton and will correct the missing period and dash in the ordinance numbering sequence from 2007/08. Any comment on that, staff?
Basically, it's the same conversation. If we let the planning commission take this up on the 12th of July, we're hoping that it will be available and ready on the 19th, so you could table to a date certain of the 19th. And if they act, great, and if they don't, you know, extend one more time.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table it to July the 19th at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Motion to table, is there a second?
Second?
Discussion?
Yeah, I think the only reason that they didn't do anything is that they ran out of time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were.
Because we were right behind them.
Yeah, we were knocking at the door.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All in favor of the motion to table, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is approval of minutes of March 1st, March 5th, March 15th, April 5th, and April 15th minutes. Is anyone prepared to make a motion?
I move we approve the minutes.
Motion to
HM
approve.
minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion.
Those minutes or hours?
All in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign.
I abstained.
You abstained? You didn't raise your hand, either. You abstained?
Thinking.
I don't remember seeing April 5 and 15, although Jennifer said they were there, so I didn't read those, so.
Okay, so we have one abstention and a thinker.
Go ahead, I'll go with it.
Is that an affirmative?
That's an affirmative.
Okay. All right.
We can start this meeting.
Minutes stand approved.
I should try to remember what I was doing back in April.
Excuse me,
March.
Mr. Mayor, weren't we at a public hearing? I don't think we ended the public
We
hearing.
made a motion to table that until July 19th, 6 p.m. Pardon me?
Do we not get to speak on any of the issues of the public hearing? Even though you tabled it, you didn't close the public hearing.
Well, when you table it, the public hearing stops because it's carried forward to the next date.
Right, but you didn't close the public hearing.
We didn't open the public hearing because we tabled
We
it.
tabled it.
You did on the first one.
But you didn't close it on the budget, so
You
it's,
did.
We voted to approve the budget.
okay, all right.
Wow. All right. Would you opine on that, Steve? If we move to table, does that kill the hearing?
Take final action on the matter, the hearing is concluded.
All right. Okay. All right, so if anyone has any comments, I'll tell you what, I'll entertain a motion that we amend the agenda to allow general comments on the next item. So that anyone that wants to back up and make comments about that could do that. Motion to amend the agenda to accept all comments. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, discussion. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Any comments? I'll start on my right. Comments or questions? Laura?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council.
Which one are we backing up to?
Well, it's general comment, so it could be a number of things.
Okay.
Laura Murphy, 201 Colorado Avenue. I would like to speak on the Hilton, who is not an extended stay hotel. I don't believe they would have the option of not paying the hotel motel tax because they're not an extended stay hotel, correct?
I don't know what the legal, there is something,
It's a state law.
it's a state law about maximum occupancy, but I don't have it in front of me, so I'd be speculating, so I don't want to speculate.
If you want to send in the question, we'll be glad to follow.
Yeah, I heard it was 30 days, no matter who you are,
Right.
including the bed and breakfast, but I'm not positive, so we'll check
Okay,
on it.
I just found that rather
Not
odd.
just the Hilton.
But I do want to discuss on the ordinance of the extended stays. Did y'all read this thoroughly?
Of course.
Did you have any questions on it?
I'm gonna wait till they redo it.
Okay, just so I have an understanding, what zone is gonna allow extended stay?
C2, I believe.
It's RMU, UV, C2.
No, we took it out of CR, so it wouldn't have.
Just to say we took it out
Right.
of CR.
Well, that's not what I read here. What I read here is that you are attaching it to a future development map. And whereas the city has determined that such areas are suitable for development of extended stay hotels. This is rather frustrating to me that we would attach it to a map that was said that I could go to the city at any time during working hours and look at it. And when I got there, everybody was at lunch, and I caught Ellie by surprise. Excuse me?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. And so I did get a copy of it, and we all passed it, because y'all were on council at the time, except Bruce. And it said, high density would be allowed and commercial would be allowed. It said nothing about what zone it would be allowed in. I just wanted to make sure that you.
I don't think we're done with it yet, so.
Well, if you had voted on it tonight, I just want to make sure you understand that it's a little more complicated than you think. And that only 20% need to have cooking facilities. So you can be an extended stay hotel and only 20% have cooking facilities. Number 59, do you have the ordinance with you? You can look at number 59, extended stay. Then he has a definition of apartment, which I guess we don't have a definition of apartment in the ordinance, so that's fine. A dwelling unit that's physically attached to at least 2 other dwelling units, either directly or through an intervening unit. But if you go to 152, it basically describes the same thing, and you can't, it's very confusing on some of these things. But it is attached to the future development map. I have a serious problem with the 400 square feet. I've done a lot of research in the past week on how large, what size, how much you get. What they're basically doing is taking a 400 square foot regular hotel room and removing 1 bed, adding a sofa and a table, and a little kitchen area. That to me is not an extended stay. The least one that I found was 457 square feet, and that was quite small. Just so you can visualize it, take your 2-car garage and put your cars out. Put in a king-size bed, because it says that if it is a 1-bedroom, it will have to have a king-size bed. Put in a king-size bed, 2 nightstands. That's 400 square feet in there. Then your little sofa and your little table. Where's your kitchen and where's your bathroom? A kitchen and a bathroom. A bathroom, as you know, remodeled bathroom, 5 feet by 8 feet, 40 square feet. Kitchen, 5 feet by 8 feet, 40 square feet. Hence comes the 480 square feet that we have on the books now for an extended stay. Otherwise, you're in a cracker box. Just think about it. I know they make more money if they don't have to build bigger rooms. The other problem I had was that the room furnishings shall be subject to inspection by the city police chief. Rather confusing. I'm sure Chief Glasek could find something better to do than to inspect the furnishings of an extended stay hotel. Then, the zoning districts, extended stay hotels shall be located only within the areas designated as high intensity mixed use or commercial. Hapeville future development map, not the zoning map, and it may be amended from time to time. Wow. And you can get this map during normal business hours from the city clerk. Well, I went in there and nobody knew what I was talking about. So I'm extremely concerned that we have a map that we're using that's not online and nobody knew we had it. So then you go to, I know this is long and I'm so sorry.
Well,
But I want you to
I don't
hear
want to
this.
interrupt.
But we haven't passed the ordinance. So
I understand,
we
but I
have
want
a
you-
map
You're looking at
attached to the
points